Hello everyone. So we're going to start the session on this topic, which we've decided for the today's webinar. It is part of the Study Abroad series. So we are planning to do many sessions in the going, or rather moving forward. Why USA is the top destination for MS for masters even during COVID. It is already been considered as the top destination for masters for Indian students or international students as such. But actually, how did COVID help us? So in this context, we're going to talk a bit more on that. So what are we going to discuss today? So first, we'll introduce ourselves. So if some of you are not aware of us, so maybe a brief introduction. Then we'll talk about why USA is the top destination. What are the factors that are in favor of US, for being a top destination over the years or rather the decades for international students. In this COVID era, what has been our observation? Because a lot of the students constantly ask us, should we postpone? Should we plan it now? Right? Maybe it could be questions in the element like, is US the right country in this time, or should we look at some other countries? So we're going to focus on the specific advantages of USA for masters during this era of COVID. Finally, we'll spend a bit of time on the overall process, in terms of exams, the shortlisting, the process, and all. At the end, if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. So that's how it'll be. We'll plan for a 25-30 minute. Then, based on the Q&A section, we'll discuss as per your queries. So first thing, as I said, I'll just introduce myself and also the founder of the company. So Mr. Ravindra Aramsetti as well as Jaydeep. So myself, so we both have worked on this idea of UberGrad. We come from prestigious college in India like BITS, Pilani and IIMs, right? So technically or rather personally, we both had our own experiences, having an exposure to foreign institutions. So I went for my semester abroad program to Germany. I spent my time there. So where we've realized the rather what do we call it, uh, effectiveness of a different pedagogy, different teaching style, the culture that you get exposed to. So that's where we've sort of got into this idea of building a platform to help students to get exposure to pursue masters, irrespective of whether you want to settle down or maybe come back, but at least opportunity to get exposure in top class universities across the world is something that we believe can actually change the lives of a student or rather a person. So how does UberGrad help, right? If you have not heard about us in depth, so I'll just take a couple of minutes to detail it out. So we start with first the test preparation phase. If you're, let's say, preparing for exams like GRE, IELTS, or TOEFL, so we do have a unique teaching style. We do self-paced content plus the personalized one-on-one sessions where we use artificial intelligence to make the learning personalized. That is, each student is different. So we try our best to make sure that our teaching and our system adapts to you. We don't prefer to do it in a very generic style that will fit for everyone. We believe each student is unique, and accordingly, we customize the classes. So we can help you with preparing for these exams so that because good scores in these exams are the foundations for your dreams of fulfilling, rather fulfilling your dreams of pursuing masters in good universities across the world. Then we have a very unique platform, machine learning algorithm based. We have used KNN and decision tree algorithms to build a good best fit recommendation engine based on the 42 parameters of each student and more than 2 lakh admission data over the last 5 to 7 years across the universities. Our system tries to predict the chances of you making to the universities across the world, and we deal with ranked universities so that we don't really talk about under graded or low quality universities, so that we help the students to get into some of the best universities you can get into. This is a unique thing because getting into one university is not the ultimate goal a student should have. It should be about getting into the best possible university. Then we do help students with SOPs, LORs, letter of recommendations. Just give me a second. Right. We also provide the application fee waivers. Some universities, because being partners with us, we have partnered with more than 800 universities across the world. They do pass on a favor to our students where they would deduct the application fee. Generally, it would be an average of $70 to $100 per one application that you have to spend or pay to the university. So let's say an Arizona State University, for example, sometimes gives us application fee waivers. We pass it on to the student. If you apply on your own, you have to pay this. You are getting that benefit of not actually paying it. So we would just pass on this information for students. Then we help with the overall process of application, the documentation, the form filling. Our team will help students to fill for them. If there are any specific documents that needs to be submitted, we would ensure that you're submitting in the right format. And our human experienced team would check, cross-check, and make sure that they're getting the perfect documents to the university so that you don't get rejected for that reason. Then we don't stop there. We consistently follow up with the universities till you fly. Maybe you got an admit. Maybe after that for I-20 or CAS, and post that for your visa process also, we'll be helping you. Right, our team would help you with the documentation, the mock interviews. For US especially, it would be important. So we will be doing the rigorous, training for the students to ensure that they don't miss out during the visa process. And we also give you financial support. We have few loan partners. So we would just ensure that our students are getting utmost support in the financial aspect as such from scholarships, regarding scholarships and the assistantships and loans from the banks or NBFCs. So on the whole, if you look at it, a student would need to start from the test preparation to sort out the financials and fly and land in his or her dream university. We would ensure that our team is supporting you at each and every stage in a very disciplined and a very structured manner. So you can see our experienced team, when we have guided more than 70,000 students so far, that can talk about our success as such. You can look at our reviews as well in all the social media, you can understand about it. And then we are one of the unique companies where we do free application processing for the students for this admission process. On top of that, plus it's a big bonus for you that we are going to give you application fee waiver, which means you can save a lot of money if you're applying to us, to some of our partner universities, which are giving you that benefit of applying for free. These are some of our success stories with respect to the exam scores like GRE, IELTS, and you can look at a lot many students in our social platform as well, social media, Instagram, Facebook, the students who have been getting successful admits through us, not just the admits as well as visa. So we consider the student as a successful story for us when we get visa approved as well for the student. Right, so reviews, Google reviews I was talking about. So now let's get into the topic of why USA is a top destination, or rather the top destination for MS. The number one reason I would like to highlight over here is the global rankings and the international reputation that the universities of USA possess. Right. So just look at these examples. These are the top ranking agencies that you can find for universities across the world. For example, US News. They have ranked around 1,678 universities across the world, and USA has 266 universities out of it. More or less, we are talking about a 20%. It's slightly less than that, maybe 18% of universities being ranked across the world. And you look at other countries which were generally being considered as an alternative like UK, Canada, and Australia, you would find them way, way below US for that matter. Right? Even India, just for you to have a reference point, we're talking about IITs, right, IISCs and all of that, the national institutes, which are premier institutes in India, you will find just 59 of them in the top 1,678 as per this rankings. Then the second agency, QS rankings I'm talking about, again, you can see around the top 1,300 universities, USA is again leading it way ahead of others. Almost 177 universities out of 1,300 are ranked in the top 1,300 universities. Similarly, you can find Times Higher Education and Shanghai rankings, which are also pretty reputed. You can find USA is always leading the pack compared to any other countries and way, way ahead of others. So the global rankings give you a picture of the quality of universities in terms of the global scale as well as the reputation. What do I mean by international reputation? Let's say you plan to come back to India after completing your master's and working for a few years. Your master's from a US university in general has a much better reputation than any other country because of, again, the higher global rankings and better perception. You can actually switch to Canada, for example, from US after doing masters. A lot of students have done that. Maybe visa H1B is one of the reasons why people have moved to Canada. But then again, it's much easier for them to shift rather than the other way around, where doing masters in Canada and getting a job in US is much harder thing to do. So that's a bigger advantage, that you do have an opportunity to move around as well if you change your mind later. Maybe come back after getting a quality education and that's why it's much better to look at US as one of the best options, if not the best. The next one is very unique concept that US universities possess is this assistantships. So you do get assistantships, like the teaching assistantship. Again, sorry for that. So you do get assistantships like graduate teaching assistantship, where you do work as an assistant to a professor. You might be taking classes, most probably not, but maybe for undergraduate students, doing some grading assignments, proctoring exams, and supporting in other activities for the professor. That's one of the possible things. You can work as a graduate research assistant, where you would be supporting your professor in the research projects, at maybe conducting experiments and working on the research publications, data analysis, and all of that. The best part in both of this is that you are investing your time, into your technical skills, or maybe whatever the skills that you're trying to do by working with your professor in the area of your interest. So you would get paid for it, like almost at $12 to $15 per hour. Uh, into 20 hours a week is what you can work, which is almost more than sufficient for you to sort out your living expenses, and a good chance for you to get a scholarship, which could go up to 100% into your tuition fee. So I'll show you some of the success stories for students before I move into that. So there's a graduate assistantship. There's a third type of assistantship where you would be working more on campus level activities like clerical support or technical support and all of that, where the pay would be slightly less, but still a good opportunity for you to do in campus and earn a good money to sort out your living expenses. This is very unique to US. You don't find it any other countries we're talking about. So some of our success stories, you can see a student who got an admit into Arizona State University, but he also applied to this university, Southern Illinois University, Edwardsville. You can see the rank. It's the 50th ranked and around in US, whereas it's in 300 ranked. But the biggest advantage the student got over here is he got 100% waiver, plus he also got a teaching assistantship, which means he's paying no fees or zero fees, and he's also sorting out his living expenses, which makes it technically a free program for 2 years. Something similar we observed for another student again in the last admit. So he got an admit from Wichita State University, which is a 300, within top 300 in ranked universities. He did not get any scholarship over there, but then he also applied to this Dakota State University, where he got a scholarship with GA, graduate assistantship, where he's just expected to pay less than a lakh as a fee per year, and he's also sorting out his living expenses with the help of this. So this is something you can definitely take as an inspiration to see that it sort of cuts out your cost, because a lot of students think it's better that I look at other countries because of cost. But US also, if you plan properly, there's a good chance that you can actually avoid the expenses with the help of the assistantships and the scholarships that you can get. The third reason, which is also a very important reason why USA is considered to be the top destination for masters, is the higher salaries. Be it for programs like Masters of Science in Data Science, like you can look at countries that we're just comparing with an average salary. Just for reference, US is like 75 rupee per dollar, and Canada would come around 60, Australia would come around 55, and pounds would come around 100. Right? If I look at it, I'm talking about a 65 lakh figure here, right? And here we're talking about a 42 lakh, and here we're talking about a 55 lakhs, and here we're talking about again a 55 lakh. Clearly, the USA is leading the pack over here in terms of the salaries we're talking about. Living expenses are more or less stay the same. If you actually ask me, it's not that USA is on the higher side. Even UK is slightly costly if you look at the areas you're living. So definitely keeping that in mind, I would always put that USA has a higher capacity to make you earn more. Similarly, look at other branches like civil engineering. Again, the average salary of USA is standing much ahead compared to the Canada, UK, and Australia. So higher salaries have always been a very attractive feature for international students, because ultimately you're doing masters with an aim to get a good job over there so that you can pay back your loans and earn more money. Maybe you want to come back and settle down there, but a good starting point is always to start with a good salary. Then the fourth point, which I would also take it as an important point to consider, like most of the students, right, if not almost everyone, would be doing masters by moving to a different country for the first time, moving out of comfort of home and jumping into a new culture altogether is a cultural shock for most of the students. But United States has this advantage that it already has a lot of Indians living over there. Look at the Indian immigrants population here, we're almost talking about 27 lakhs. This is purely talking about immigrants. Then there are Indian Americans who come from Indian origin and born and brought up in US, technically US citizens. There are almost 40 lakhs of people living over there. There are a lot many people who come from an Indian cultural background. Maybe people who are born in India, moved to US, or maybe born and brought up in India because of ancestral origin. We are talking about a lot many people in US who come from Indian origin, which makes it, you find an Indian restaurant in every nook and corner. You find an Indian family living maybe any street you just walk across. So there's a high probability that you don't really feel that you're out of place if you move to United States as compared to any other country at this point of time. And as another reference point, I'm showing you the number of international students in USA. So China has highest number definitely, but India is the one which is next with 2 lakh students pursuing studies in US at any point of time. More or less, this number has been growing at a good rate over the last years. But just even if you look at this number, if you go, you are expecting to see a lot of Indians studying in your community, in your college, in your university, which means it's a good starting point for you to find some people that you can associate with and get started in a new culture. So maybe it might not be a big point for everyone, but I would definitely assure you that it can be treated as a very big positive, because you're going to a new place. You are definitely, there's a good chance you might be scared. Don't be, because you'll find a lot of Indians living in US might be working. It's a good chance you might find a relative as well, because that's the place where a lot of our relatives are living, right? So that's another key point why US has always been a big hub for masters for international students, or Indian students specifically. Now, moving to this point of what exactly has COVID done to this entire story of pursuing masters in USA. So what has actually happened, right? There was a span of time where things have stopped. Universities were finding it hard. A lot of students couldn't travel to US for visa purpose or due to visa reasons. So people have deferred. A lot of things have stopped for almost a year in 2020. But then since 2021, things have really changed in a very positive note. Things are moving at a very fast pace. For example, for the fall 21 or the August 2021, USA has, the embassy has issued almost 55,000 student visas for Indians, which is the highest so far, way ahead of any other number of visas that they've given for any admit cycle in history. You can clearly understand that a lot of Indians are rushing and US is also accepting. I'll tell you the simple reason: because the international students, or rather Indian students in USA, contribute to $40 billion economy over there. Fees, the expenses, the food, everything is part of the count that I'm talking about, which is a very huge amount for them. So for that purpose, they are very desperate to get Indian students back, and they have given a good number of visas, which basically means we have seen a lot of students getting visa approvals without much of a problem. So I am expecting this trend to continue for a few more cycles, maybe not for really long, but still it's a good news to start off with. The second thing is that the Biden government is looking very, very favorable right now. So they have put up a US Citizenship Act 2021 bill, which is basically talking about the Indians going to gain with respect to the green cards, the H-1B issues. They're saying that if you pursue PhD, you should be getting eligibility to apply for green card right out of your program, which is a very good news. Otherwise, people who have been living for decades still finding it hard to get a green card. So this sort of the rules that they're trying to implement is going to make things way easier for an international student to first get a admit as an F1 visa student holder, then transfer to H1B or a green card by getting a job. So things are looking way favorable as compared to what it was with the Trump's government. So which means it's a very good news for students who are planning to pursue masters in US. The third reason, which is again observed during COVID, is that a lot of universities have considered that people are finding it hard to take exams in this COVID, and they've given GRE waivers. So you can talk about the top class universities, the top 50, like including Stanford, MIT, right, Texas A&M, College Station. So University of Colorado Boulder, they've all waived off. Like for example, few universities have made it optional. For example, George Mason, I'll show you. They have put it as an optional thing. So which means that you can still apply without GRE exam. So if you just go here, so you can find all the programs you're talking about. I'm just showing it as an example. So let's say, see, GRE is not a mandatory. So they are just getting it waived off. So for any program you see, you might find it more or less waived off. So that's something that you can take it as, a good bonus, because for some of the students who are finding it hard, you will find some universities. The fact is not every university has waived off. That's not the right one to make a statement. Maybe around 20 to 25% of universities have done it for fall 2021 and spring 22. We expect more or less a good trend to continue. Maybe at least 15% of universities would waive off. So you might always find some university suitable for your level of application profile, where you might get some advantage of not taking GR if you're really scared about this exam. Though it's recommended to take it for scholarship and other purposes, that's what we strongly recommend to increase your profile capability. But if you're really scared, it's still a chance that I've seen students who've gone ahead and have applied and got an admit without GRE in the last couple of admits, so which can be considered as a bonus. So these points I would put it that it makes it really, really sensible for a student if he or she is thinking USA could be a good option, but should I postpone my idea? I see that there's a lot of merit that you can look at, or rather you can put into, because the things are very favorable for the last few cycles and next few cycles. It's better that you ride the wave now and get a very good chance with respect to your visa and universities, and hope for the best. So what is the typical process for MS in US? So generally, there's a very ideal behavior that we're talking about. I'm just putting it. Some of us might have not done it. We have already gone into a timeline which is we have sort of lost some days if you have not started. But technically, first step is you need to shortlist your courses. Which courses are you looking at? Maybe computers, data science, maybe talking about analytics, masters in mechanical, civil, right? You have to look at things, do research in internet to see what are the relevant courses. For example, engineering management, masters in engineering management is a very good program for people who do not have experience, come from engineering background and wants to pursue something in management space. A lot of students are not aware of this program, which means you will not ever apply for this. So it's very important that you figure out the relevant courses for you and understand what is being offered with respect to the curriculum and electives, and accordingly figure out what suits you better. Right? Once you get a sense of it, you have to also understand what are the relevant exams I need to attempt. Okay, I want to apply to these universities based on my profile. So they are asking for GRE, they're asking for IELTS or TOEFL, right? More or less, every university would accept any of these two exams. So you will decide which one suits me better. Then you need to prepare for exams, because it takes around 2 to 4 months to prepare for GRE and IELTS, not together I'm talking about, to make sure that you give your best shot. Meanwhile, work on maybe publishing some research papers, building your CGPA, doing internships, because you cannot improve these things in just a day or two, right? You have to realize it's a continuous process that you need to start right from the start to make sure you maximize it as much as you can, because these things are considered in your admissions. Post that, once you come to the November, by November or December, we expect you to take these exams, right? Worst case, January. You should not delay it like first week or 2 weeks of January, nothing beyond it. Should make sure you take your exams so that you finalize your universities with exact exam scores and the profile details. Our team would help you. Then you would be working on SOPs, LOS, and all of that, because it takes you another 2 to 4 weeks to prepare these documents and all of that to make sure you apply to universities. Right. Okay, just give me a second again. Right. So once you prepare on this, let's say you apply by February, because most of the good universities close their deadlines by February or March. Applying beyond that is definitely not a suggested thing. So I would strongly recommend you have enough time to at least make sure you apply by February so that you don't miss out on the deadlines of good universities. Apply earlier to make sure you have a better chance to get a better admit. Right. Once you apply, you wait for your admission offers, which generally takes 2 to 8 weeks depending on the rush. Then you have to also work on your financial support documents. Once you get an admission offer, you need to make sure you satisfy the conditions being mentioned with respect to your financial capacity and all, and get an I-20. Once you get an I-20, you have to submit the forms and fill the SAVIS and DS-160 to get a visa process get rolled. And that's going to take another 1.5 months for you getting a visa slot, filling the forms, getting a visa slot, and then going and taking an interview and getting your visa admitted. It's going to take you another 1 to 1.5 months. So once you started, then it's the final step. You got your visa, things are all lined up for you. Just get started with the pre-departure formalities like accommodation in universities, find people who are going along with you from India, flight tickets, forex cards, and all of that, and then you just fly and then make sure you start your dream journey. That's the overall process, but the key point I want you to understand is that you have to start early. If you have not started by now, my recommendation is start today or tomorrow, right? Obviously, yesterday was a good day, today is the next best day. So make sure that you don't delay further because you've already lost some time. So at least start preparing for exams, get a sense of the courses and universities. You can always reach out to a team. Right, I'll just show you one thing. If you want to get some information, right, you can always come to our website, overgrad.com. You click on this, talk to our counselor. You can just book a call. You can just look at the available slots and you can just book a call, and you'll be getting it for free to talk to our counselor, and you can clear your doubts. Right, our team can help you with, if you have any support you need on the courses and universities and the overall process. So that way, this is the process that I wanted you to understand. If by chance you have any doubts, you can definitely ask me. So I'm open for the questions. So that's the thing that we wanted to cover and we did. So if you have any questions, we're good to go. You can ask us, maybe in the chat, maybe you can unmute yourself and ask. Right, you can ask me anything, whatever we discussed so far, maybe in general about your plans of pursuing higher studies, about US or maybe other countries as well. We are good to talk. And if you are interested, you can as well book the call with our counselor to have a little bit more personalized discussion about your profile, about suitable programs that you can look at and do further research. No doubts? All right then. So as I said, you can always go to our website and you can always book a call. You can always reach out to our team, and we'll be more than happy to help you out. So I'm assuming that you guys do not have any questions. If yes, we can definitely ask. I'll just wait for a minute and post that. If you don't have any questions, we can end the call. Perfect. So hope this session was useful. Some of you have joined late. We'll just make sure we'll share the recording as well with you, so you can watch it again, and you can always reach out to our team if you need. How can we apply for scholarship? So there are quite a few scholarships. Like there are few which are given by the Indian government, a few which are given by the universities. So talking about universities, we need to make sure that you apply during your application process. That's one type, which is basically nothing, but you just have to say, I'm open to take scholarship. Some universities make it explicitly a tick box you need to select. In few cases, they don't ask you, they directly consider you for the scholarship. And then there are few scholarships which would be offered after you get an admit, which basically will be notified by our team generally. Otherwise, you need to take care, you follow up the, every university would have the financial aid page, right? Admissions and aid. So you can just have to look at it. So that information can get lost, but you just have to make sure that, you follow up, in this particular university that you're planning to apply, to get a sense of the type of, financial aids. It could be merit scholarships, it could be need-based scholarships. So that's something that generally for our students, you are a student of Upagrat, so we'll make sure that our team, our counselors would be guiding you. But one big advantage or other tip I would like to give you is you should apply early. Applying earlier would give you an edge in getting scholarships generally for universities. Again, that's just a merit-based scholarship which the universities themselves would give. Beyond that, you have scholarships given by the Indian government and US government, like you have Harvey Fellowship, you have Nehru Fulbright scholarships and all. So those sort of it, again, we would just give you information. You just have to apply, and you have to hope for the best. So again, what would they look at while giving scholarship? Your profile, the same story, your course, GRE, IELTS, TOEFL, your CGPA, your research background, your internships and work experience. So they will look at all of this, and then if you satisfy the criteria set by them, there is a good chance you can get a scholarship from them. But we will do sessions on scholarship specifically going forward. But yeah, in a generic way, the question you've asked, I think that should answer it. So thanks a lot for joining. As I said, if you have not attended the entire session, we will make sure that we will share the recording. You can watch it as well. And then we'll keep doing many more sessions. So you'll be notified about them. You can join and then hope that you'll get more information. And if you have any questions, we're always happy to help. Right. Thanks a lot and goodbye.